This is a topic that's not getting nearly enough attention. It's something that's come up in other hearings that we've had, but I think the American public needs to be made aware of what's happening on our tribal lands. It's happening all across our country, but especially the egregious things that are happening on the tribal lands here. You know, we did a hearing in southern Arizona in Cochise County, and it was on damage to public lands and illegal immigration. And Sheriff Mark Daniels there made a statement where he said, it's not an immigration problem we have. He said it's an organized crime problem. And it got me really to thinking a lot about, you know, he's right. This is Mexican cartels, and they're not just operating along the border in southern Arizona. They're in Montana. They're in California. They're all across our country, and the cartels have to have a presence to be able to cash in on the human trafficking when they're basically enslaving people and forcing them into it's a massive problem that's not getting nearly enough attention. But Chief Roberg, as you know, the cartels obviously present an extreme danger to Indian communities all across America. Eradicating the cartels and their fentanyl from Indian country should be a major priority for the FBI and other federal law enforcement. But we know this is not always the case. How present is the FBI on Fort Belknap Reservation, and how would you describe your relationship with the FBI Salt Lake City Field Office, which I believe covers your area?
Yes, Mr. Westerman. We have a pretty good relationship with the FBI of that Salt Lake City Field Office. We're mandated by federal law, any felonious type offense, I guess I wouldn't say any felonious type offense, it would be any serious offense, murder, any unattended death, most drug-related crimes, we have to call or report it to the FBI. Essentially what happens is, I have my criminal investigator here sitting behind me. He'll put the case together, it kind of in tandem with the FBI. A lot of times he does it, hands it over to the FBI. The FBI then does a cross memo, I believe, to submit that to the AUSA, and then they prosecute. So we do have a pretty good working relationship with them, but as far as dangerous drugs go, we use the BIA Drug Enforcement Division a little bit more because we're getting more results out of them. It's hit or miss. They take a reactive approach, the FBI, I'm speaking of, as far as proactive.
And, you know, we had a hearing earlier this year, and a tribal leader was talking about death threats from the cartels. And now you testified that there were 4 murders in 3 months in a community of 7,000 people, and directly because of drugs coming from below or from the southern border. Would you like to elaborate on that?
I'll elaborate, I apologize. The 4 murders weren't as a direct like cause and effect from drugs being trafficked across the southern border. Our rise in violent crime and everything else is from what we're seeing, if we track data, it's caused from dangerous drug and drug trafficking. I mean, we haven't seen this type of violent crime in a while. And with that, we haven't had a murder in years, and then all of a sudden this year, with an uptick in fentanyl and methamphetamine, we have 4 of them.
Yeah, and well, I used a lot of time there, but Mrs. N, I found your testimony extremely compelling because you have extensive experience working with tribes in Montana. Can you describe some instances in which the DEA successfully worked with tribes to dismantle cartel distribution networks?
Oh, absolutely. The last act when I was the head of DEA, that's what we worked, was the large drug cartel that we took off throughout the state of Montana on the reservations. They were coming from Omak, Washington, traveling to Flathead, dropping off, going all the way to Great Falls, dropping off in Rocky Boy, going up through Havard, dropping off in Fort Belknap, and then coming and laying their heads down in Crow Agency. When we teamed up with FBI and BIA, we were successful in our investigation. It took 8 to 11 months to actually work. We arrested, but I can actually say the Mexican cartel, the members that we arrested, they were all illegals that had come across our southwest border. And so the problem that we have is that some of them have fled, and we hear the rumors of they're back into the United States, but they're going to be under a new identification, so we're going to be having to retrack that all over again.
So I was going to ask you to identify any existing barriers that complicate DEA's mission to eliminate illegal drug distribution and to prosecute drug traffickers. It sounds like this new identification may be one of those barriers. Are there other ones in Indian country?
Oh, absolutely. We need more drug agents in Montana. When I was saying we have 4 enforcement groups, 4 enforcement drug agents to cover Havard, Bozeman, Ekalaka, Plentywood, 4 guys. Can't do it. Cannot do it.
Again, I'm way out of time, but thank you all so much for your testimony, and this is something we have to follow up on. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.